The Detroit Tigers have an absolutely pathetic ownership because they have arguably the best pitcher in baseball. It's really a debate between Skubal and Skeens. They've got Skubal. Soon he's going to be a free agent, and they offered him a contract that was lower than $80 million per 4 years. That is absolutely pathetic. And considering who his agent is, this is an absolute disgrace. Scott Boras just went out and got Juan Soto, who only hits more money than Shohei Ohtani, who pitches and hits. And you're telling me now he has a top 2 starting pitcher in the league and he's not going to get him record-breaking money? They are facing a $320 million gap. That's absolutely insane. And not only that, so they lowballed Skubal. They're very far away from, the money that, Skubal and his agent think he deserves and how much the Tigers are willing to pay, right? There's a huge gap because honestly, that contract offer, you might as well don't even offer it. That's how disrespectful it is. Because did he really think Skubal's going to be like, you know what? I see pitchers who are worse than me get a lot more money, but you know what? I want to stay here in Detroit. I'm going to absolutely sell myself short from a huge payday I'm supposed to get and just sign with the Tigers just to stay here. No, Scott Boras is his agent. Scott Boras will milk whatever team ends up getting him for every dollar they have. Ask the Mets. Now, not only that, the Tigers are seriously considering trading Tarik Skubal if they can get whatever they want in a trade. Mariners, Mets, and Red Sox seen as potential fits. To me, this doesn't make sense because you're going to trade Skubal after you barely lost to the Mariners in a Game 5 and it went to extra innings, right, in the divisional series against the Blue Jays, who ended up taking the Dodgers to 7. Or no, sorry. You just went to 5 games with the Mariners, who ended up barely losing to the Blue Jays in an elimination game. And, all of these games were literally taking the distance. So, my whole thing here is, the Mariners, get taken to 7. You took the Mariners to 5. And then the Blue Jays, who were taken to 7 by the Mariners, lose the World Series by 7. So you're literally 1 game away from possibly winning the World Series. You're not really that far off. And you think trading away the second best or best pitcher in the league that you have is going to make you a better team? Because you are right there. You are right there from being able to actually win a championship. And you'd be thinking, oh man, maybe it's like the A's where they have kind of a poor own. No. Their ownership is worth $3.9 billion. $3.9 billion these new owners that the Detroit Tigers have. So it's not really going to hurt them. To give this guy $300 million, $400 million, whatever this guy is needed to, get to be able to stay as a Tiger, because you'd be thinking, like Pittsburgh, with Paul Skeens, it's looking like a motorhome with the Lamborghini, if you know the meme, right? So eventually Skeens is going to get traded because there's no point of paying Paul Skeens if you're going to surround him with a lot of mediocre pieces. So with the Tigers, you actually have a competitive team that keeps making the playoffs with Skubal, and Skubal performs and everything. You're just a little inch away, a little bit more offense, really, from being able to actually win a championship. Because the Tigers were really great this year. They were just 1 game off against the Mariners. The Mariners were 1 game off against the Blue Jays, and then they were 1 game off against the Dodgers. So you're right there. And instead, you're going to trade this man. Imagine if he gets traded to the Dodgers. That would be the biggest FU to baseball right there. But it's just unbelievable that an ownership worth $3.9 billion is unable to offer him even a competitive contract that could even be, taken into consideration. And that's why I don't understand most of these owners. Why do you even own these teams if you're not trying to win a championship? Because at the end of the day, I understand it's a business, but the point of the business is to win a championship. If you were to spend a little bit more money and keep some of your talent, you're not going to absolutely take a hit financially. No, you're going to make it back in jerseys, ticket sales, playoff ticket sales, and etc. You make your money back. Shohei Ohtani's contract is already paid back. And we're barely in like year 3 or 4. Skubal here, if you let him go, you're going to lose more than you were to gain if you paid the guy or at least give him a competitive offer. You are worth 3.9 billion. Why do you enter and buy a MLB franchise if you don't want to be competitive and you don't want to actually go out there and win some games? Because you're not telling the fan base, you're not telling anyone that you want to be competitive by getting rid of your best pitcher because you don't want to pay him. That's absolutely terrible for the game. And this is when I say, when it comes to the lockout, I understand people that want a floor, but I think a floor and cap needs to be implemented considering how, the money's being spent in the MLB. And this is a prime example here with the Tigers. But anyways, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Are the Tigers ownership at fault here, or is Skubal being too greedy? But anyways, thank you guys for watching.